Chicago. A city built on steel, sweat, and guys who asked very uncomfortable questions. Back in the day, if somebody owed money, skipped out on a debt, or suddenly forgot how to speak English when the boss asked a question, well, let's just say the Chicago outfit had a system. Now you can bring a little of that legendary problem-solving power into your own home. Introducing the Chicago Outfit Truth Extraction Kit. That's right. For the low price of 3 easy payments of $19.29, because around here we respect tradition, you'll receive everything you need to turn any awkward conversation into a full confession. Inside every kit you'll find the Cicero conversation chair. Comfortable, sturdy, and positioned directly under the bright light of truth. The deluxe rubber hose. Perfect for encouraging honesty at family poker games. And of course, the Chicago Outfit Ledger Notebook. Because when somebody says they'll pay you tomorrow, you write that down. But wait, there's more. Order now and we'll include the emergency alibi generator. Just spin the wheel and instantly receive a classic Chicago excuse like, I was at church. I was with my cousin Tony. I never even heard of that guy. Or the all-time favorite. What murder? Thousands of satisfied customers are already talking. Mostly because the kit works. So the next time someone tells you, I swear, I don't know nothing, just smile, lean in close. And remember what Chicago taught us all. Everybody talks eventually. The Chicago Outfit Truth Extraction Kit. Available now. Exclusively from Pizzaverse Studios and Palermo Productions. Because sometimes you gotta solve problems. Chicago style.
Mugs, what the fuck you doing in there, you prick?
Sam Giancana, the mob boss who played with the CIA. A Pizzaverse Studios documentary. A Palermo Productions original. Written by Bambi Palermo. Narrated by Vincent DiPrio. Chicago. For decades, the city stood at the center of organized crime in America. After the fall of Al Capone, the Chicago outfit evolved into something far more sophisticated. It became quieter, more strategic, more powerful. At the top of this empire sat men like Tony Accardo and Paul Ricca, figures who avoided the spotlight while quietly directing one of the most profitable criminal organizations in the United States. But in the 1950s, a new personality rose within the outfit. A man far less quiet, far more ambitious, and far more dangerous. His name was Sam Giancana. And unlike the bosses before him, Giancana's reach would extend far beyond Chicago, into Las Vegas casinos, Hollywood celebrity circles, and even secret plots with the United States government. The rise of Momo. Sam Giancana was born Salvatore Giancana in 1908 on Chicago's West Side. The son of Sicilian immigrants, he grew up in one of the city's toughest neighborhoods. By his teenage years, he had already become involved with street gangs connected to organized crime. Giancana eventually joined a notorious outfit crew known as the 42 Gang, a group of young criminals responsible for robberies, hijackings, and violent enforcement operations for the Chicago mob. His willingness to use violence and his talent for organization quickly gained the attention of outfit leadership. And by the 1940s, Giancana had become one of the organization's rising stars. The outfit expands. Under leaders like Tony Accardo and Paul Ricca, the Chicago outfit expanded its influence dramatically. The organization invested heavily in Las Vegas casinos, using partnerships and hidden ownership to funnel millions of dollars back to Chicago. Giancana became deeply involved in the outfit's gambling operations. By the mid-1950s, when Ricca and Accardo began stepping back from day-to-day operations, Giancana effectively became the public boss of the Chicago outfit. But unlike Accardo, Giancana did not avoid attention. He enjoyed fame. He attended Hollywood parties. He dated famous singer Phyllis McGuire of the McGuire Sisters. And he began attracting the attention of law enforcement. The CIA connection. In 1959, a revolution in Cuba brought Fidel Castro to power. American intelligence agencies quickly saw Castro as a threat during the Cold War. The Central Intelligence Agency began exploring covert plans to remove him. One of the most unusual ideas involved using organized crime figures who had previously operated casinos and gambling businesses in Cuba. Through intermediaries, CIA officials allegedly made contact with mafia figures connected to the Chicago outfit. Among the names that surfaced in these discussions was Sam Giancana. According to later congressional investigations, the CIA worked with several mob associates in attempts to assassinate Castro. Whether Giancana personally directed these plots remains debated, but his name became permanently linked to one of the strangest alliances in Cold War history. Trouble with the outfit. Despite his power, Giancana's growing fame created problems inside the Chicago outfit. Traditional mob bosses preferred secrecy. Public attention attracted law enforcement. And Giancana's lifestyle, celebrities, parties, and press coverage made some leaders uneasy. Meanwhile, federal investigations were closing in. In the mid-1960s, Giancana was eventually jailed for refusing to testify before a grand jury. When he was released, he spent several years living in Mexico. But in the early 1970s, he returned to Chicago.
In the early 1960s, the world was on the edge of nuclear war. The Cold War was raging. The CIA was desperate. And in Chicago, the outfit was open for business. See, when the government needed something done quietly, sometimes they didn't call soldiers. Sometimes they called wise guys. Which brings us to today's sponsor. Introducing Cuban Problem Solver. The only service inspired by the historic partnership between the CIA and the Chicago outfit. Having trouble with a foreign dictator? Need something handled off the books? Just ask yourself, what would Sam Giancana do? With Cuban Problem Solver, you get discrete planning, untraceable connections, and a team of professionals who understand the importance of plausible deniability. Need access to Havana? No problem. Need someone who knows a guy who knows a guy? We got 3 of them. Need to make a phone call that officially never happened? Forget about it. Cuban Problem Solver specializes in regime inconveniences, island logistics, and extremely confidential business meetings at Las Vegas casinos. Because when the Cold War got complicated, the CIA didn't always go to Congress. Sometimes they went to Chicago. Cuban problem solver. When diplomacy fails, call the outfit.
The final days. By 1975, Giancana had become a person of major interest to federal investigators. He was scheduled to testify before the Church Committee, a Senate investigation examining CIA activities and covert operations. Giancana potentially knew sensitive details about CIA interactions with organized crime. But before he could testify, something happened. The murder. On June 19, 1975, Sam Giancana was found dead in the kitchen of his home in Oak Park, Illinois. He had been shot multiple times. Most notably, several bullets had been fired into the back of his head, a method often associated with mob executions. The murder shocked investigators, and immediately speculation began. Who killed Sam Giancana? And why? Theories about the killing. Several theories emerged. Some investigators suggested foreign intelligence agencies may have been involved. But many mob historians believe the most likely explanation involved Giancana's own organization. Some investigators believe the Chicago outfit leadership feared Giancana might reveal sensitive information if he testified. If that were the case, the decision to eliminate him would likely have come from the very top of the organization. That leadership still included figures like Tony Accardo, who remained one of the most powerful men in the outfit. However, no one was ever officially charged with the killing. And the truth remains one of organized crime's enduring mysteries. Sam Giancana's life represents one of the most fascinating chapters in the history of organized crime. A street gangster who rose to control one of the most powerful mafia organizations in America. A mob boss whose connections reached into politics, Hollywood, and even secret government operations. And a man who ultimately died surrounded by unanswered questions. His story sits at the crossroads of crime, power, and Cold War intrigue. A reminder that sometimes the most dangerous secrets are the ones buried between government files and organized crime history. The world of organized crime is filled with legends, mysteries, and unanswered questions. And few stories illustrate that better than the rise and fall of Sam Giancana, a mob boss who once stood at the center of Chicago's underworld, and whose secrets may never fully be revealed. Thank you for watching this Pizzaverse Studios documentary. For more cinematic deep dives into organized crime history, subscribe Pizzaverse Studios and Palermo Productions. Pizzaverse Studios, a Palermo Productions documentary. Written by Bambi Palermo. Narrated by Vincent DiPrio. Executive Production, Pizzaverse Studios.
Forget about it, Flex Tape. Because problems disappear permanently. You ever got a problem that just won't shut the hell up? A leak. A squeak. A guy asking too many questions. You could call a professional, or you could handle it like a professional. Introducing Forget About It Flex Tape. The only industrial strength tape trusted by contractors, dock workers, and guys who don't exist on paper. What does it fix? Leaky pipes? Forget about it. Cracked boats? Forget about it. Broken chairs? Forget about it. Loose floorboards in the trunk? Sure, you didn't hear that from me. This ain't tape. This is silence. Science-ish explanation. They say it's made with military-grade adhesive polymers. What I say is, once it sticks, it doesn't let go. Rain, snow, salt water, acid rain from Jersey. This thing holds tighter than a consigliere with a secret. Sun-grown teeth. I had a situation. I used forget about it flex tape. Now I sleep great. Frank Pecoraro. My boat was taken on water. Now it's taken on memories. See, happy customers, quiet customers. Bonus uses. Seal pipes. Patch roofs. Fix radiators. Reinforce suitcases. Silence rattling trunks. Hold together family secrets since 1987. And if you order right now, we'll throw in a second roll, absolutely free. Why two? Because sometimes you gotta go over it twice. Call now. Operators are standing by. They don't ask names. They don't ask questions. They definitely don't wear wires. Forget about it, flex tape. When the problem needs to stop, and stay stopped.
Las Vegas. A city built on risk. Bright lights. Endless casinos. Millions of dollars moving across gaming tables every night. To most visitors, it looked like paradise. But behind the glamour of the Las Vegas Strip, something else was happening. For years, millions of dollars were disappearing from the casinos. Not through robberies, not through fraud, but through a secret operation run by the American Mafia. They called it the Skim. Money taken directly from casino profits, before it was ever reported to the government. Cash quietly removed from counting rooms, packed into envelopes, and sent back across the country, straight to the bosses of organized crime. The operation involved powerful figures from the Chicago outfit, the Kansas City Mafia, and corrupt casino executives who helped keep the scheme hidden. For nearly 2 decades, the Skim drained millions from Las Vegas casinos, funding mob empires across the Midwest. But the Mafia made one critical mistake. The FBI was watching. Through undercover operations, wiretaps, and secret informants, federal investigators slowly uncovered the hidden network behind the Skim. A network that would eventually lead to one of the largest organized crime prosecutions in American history. A story involving mob bosses, casino insiders, and ruthless enforcers sent to keep the money flowing, including one of the most feared mobsters ever sent to Las Vegas, Tony Spilotro, the man sent by Chicago to protect the Skim and make sure no one talked. But when the investigation closed in, the empire began to collapse, and the desert would eventually swallow one of the most notorious mob killings in American history. The Vegas Skim. How the Chicago outfit stole millions. A Pizzaverse Studios documentary. A Palermo Productions original. Coming soon.
When I go into that ground, I won't go quietly. I'm bringing my crown. When I go into that ground, oh, they gotta bury me face down. From the rubble, what do I see? There's a whole damn army thinking that they're gonna harm me, saying that I'll never get free. Oh, I got troubles, they won't let me be. But I won't get tired, set the town on fire till my troubles got trouble with me. Thinking that they've won, it's only just begun. When I go into that ground, I won't go quietly. I'm bringing my crown. And when I go into that ground, oh, they gotta bury me face down. I've been on the run since I was a boy, but now I'm done running, got another thing coming. Watch my enemies get destroyed. Oh, I got troubles of more than one kind, but I never sleep. Gotta bury me 6 feet deep where the sun don't shine. Thinking that they've won, it's only just begun. When I go into that ground, I won't go quietly. I'm bringing my crown. And when I go into that ground, oh, they gotta bury me face down. Counted out, left for dead, wanted with a bounty on my head. But somehow, someway, I'ma keep moving along. Been counted out, left for dead, wanted with a bounty on my head. But somehow, someway, I'ma keep moving along. Thinking that they've won, it's only just begun. When I go into that ground, I won't go quietly. I'm bringing my crown. And when I go into that ground, oh, they gotta bury me face down. Oh, they gotta bury me face down.